Hi, this is Vicki Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and today I'm going to do a little dyeing. I'm going to do some Easter egg dyeing, and I'm going to do this with my papers and some coffee filters and some doilies, and then I've made a couple of doilies. So this is what I'm using. It's from an Easter egg packet, and I'm just going to cut the corner out so I can keep the rest of them together, and I'm going to slide one of them out. And I'm supposed to have, I think, a green, blue, purple, red, and yellow, but I really can't tell what color some of these are going to be, so we'll just let it be a surprise. Now, I've used these before, that I had found some in a box, and they were old, but it gave me good color. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little dab of vinegar in my pan, and I'm going to put some water. It's about a cup, 2 cups, I don't know, it's a 1 cup container. And then I'm going to put half of my egg thing in here, and I'm just going to shake it around. Now, a lot of people use gloves for this. I don't let it bother me. I can walk around with pink hands, and it doesn't bother me. But what I'm doing now is trying to get it to melt. And it looks like this is going to be a red. I wanted different shades, so I'm going to let my little packet go to the other end and keep dissolving while I work with this end. I have a doily here. Now, I'm not certain this is going to color very well because it seems to have a kind of a plastic finish, but we shall see. I've got my baking sheet here, my cookie sheet. I don't know if you can see the whole setup. I've got a red tablecloth on my table. Now, right now, this doesn't look like it's going to do much. What I might do is get me a spoon and pour some extra coloring on it. Now, what I do with my spoon is just to put a little extra coloring on it, kind of blotch it. It doesn't show up a whole lot, but we'll just see what happens. Right now, you can tell that my Easter egg tablet, coloring tablet, is still dissolving. And so let's take something that I've made. This is a doily that I've made. And we'll see how this does. This is just plain typing paper. And the edges may not take the water very well, but we'll see what happens. And then I'm just going to put it on a cookie sheet also. Getting the stronger color each time. I just thought it would be interesting to have one that I made in the dye. Now, I have my oven set at 200. And when I get through, I will put the cookie sheet in the oven for just a couple of minutes. After you have a little trial and error, you can determine how long you want to keep it in there. But usually it's just a couple of minutes. This time, I'm going to see how my commercial doily did first before I do another one. Now I've got a coffee filter. And this should take the coloring pretty well. I'm doing it on both sides. and I let the excess drop off. And I'm gonna put it on my cookie sheet. Now, I have not done the coffee filters before. I have done my sheets of paper, and they turned out great. And as I say, I kind of leave the wrinkles in there. I think it makes it more interesting. And then what I'll do is just kind of make the color puddle it a little bit. Okay, now let's see how those two turned out before we go any further. This time I've got just a piece of typing paper. Just plain ordinary typing paper. I'm putting it in. Now we'll wait and see how these come out, and then I'm gonna do something extra to my papers. So we'll fast forward. Here's the doily I made. I kind of messed it up when I put it in the water, the edge here, because it's kind of fragile. But I think I could press that out. If nothing else out, I could press it out with an iron. But it did fair. It at least has a pink tint. This absorbed it the most. And this is like the regular typing paper. This here is just a little damp. Now, I'm gonna do another one, another set, but I'm gonna do it differently. And I wanna show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put all of those over there for now. First thing I'm gonna do is put my pan back down. And I have my rack. I'm gonna sit my rack on the pan. This is just a cooling rack. Excuse me. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take a coffee filter. And I'm getting my color on now. And I'm gonna try to, where it folds over, I want to try to open it up so it doesn't dry folded. Let's see what I got here. Can't tell, it goes on this side. So I'm gonna open it up like this. Hopefully without tearing it, without having folds in other places. Now that I've got it straight, I'm gonna put it on top of the rack. And I'm just laying it down on the rack. And I'm gonna take some extra coloring and pour over it. Excuse me. I'll show you what that looks like when I get through. In fact, I think I'm gonna do two like that. And it looks like the rack will only hold two. And then, excuse me, then I'm gonna do the same thing with a couple pieces of typing paper. But I had not done the coffee filters before, so I thought now was a good time, since I've recently had them out for something else. Again, I'm gonna press it down on the cooking rack. I'm gonna try to lift this back up and move it over. Now you probably can't tell, but I've put right much extra coloring on that first one. And I'm going to do the same thing now with the second one. And I'm going to put it back over top of my cookie sheet as soon as possible so it doesn't all leak all over my plastic tablecloth. Now this time, so I said when you put it in the oven, you want it about 200. This time, since the oven has gotten hot, I'm timing it so that I'll know exactly how long this second batch went through, and I can tell you. Usually I don't worry about the time, I just put it in, and my husband lets me know when it's about ready to catch on fire, and he gets it out for me. Again, I want you to see how the coffee filter looks sitting on the rack. And there's, excuse me, there's room to put another commercial Doily. So let's see what we have here. I'm gonna do another one, see if I can get a little more color in it. What I usually do, when I do this, I usually, I don't use a balm of coloring when I do this, because I only put a cup of water, and you can tell that I still have loads of it in my tablet. It's still dissolving. It's almost dissolved. But what I usually do is I will pour this into a jar and keep it, say, for a month, and then do another set of dyeing. That way I could use up the rest of my liquid before I throw it away. About a month is about all I keep it. And because sometimes you can't find your stick. Now, it's in the stores right now, so you want to make sure you can go and get some of those leftover tablets before they take them out of the store. And you can usually find it because they'll have a section with clearance stuff of Easter egg coloring. And I probably should have done this last week, but I already had something planned, so I'm doing it the week of Easter. And I hope everyone had a great Easter.
Yeah,
okay, here's my next batch, and my husband timed it. It was approximately 12 minutes. So here's my Doily, excuse me, my coffee filter. Has a nice pink color. Now, I usually don't iron these. I just put them in a stack and kind of try to smooth them out, but I don't really iron them. Okay, and then here is my typing paper. Sometimes it has a little tear, but that's okay. That makes it look old. And just, I don't press it. I just let it, I stack them up. And as they come off the pan, I just put them on top of each other and then let them dry. Okay, here's the one that I did on the rack. If you'll notice, it has a lot of coloring in there. This one, it's hard to see, but you can tell, especially if you hold it up to the light, that there's some impressions there. And then here's the Doily I did. It's still a little on the damp side, so we'll put that aside. Now, this was the grouping after this one, so you can tell that it's getting a little darker because the tablet is melting more. Okay, here's some of my papers, and I have poured the leftover coloring in a jar for next time. And here are the papers that I really wanted to show you. If you notice the rack on the paper, the copy paper, will give you little lines that you can use to write on. So you could fold it up and use it for a writing paper. Here's one here. It really shows up nicely with the lines on it. So you may want to put some on a rack and dry them that way. Now the coffee filters didn't seem to show the rack quite as well. It does to a degree, but not as well as the other. You still have the impressions there. But as far as the coloring, it's not as pronounced. This one seemed to do pretty good. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do some other colors, and I'll be doing the very same way, but I'm going to wait and show you at the end the different colors that I've done. Okay, I showed you my making some pink paper, and here's some yellow that I've made. This I put in first, so it has a deeper color. And here's my coffee filter. The coffee filters really take the ink, the coloring. And here's my doilies. They did a pretty good job in the yellow. I have some real pale papers. This is where I was getting near the end, and I added some more water. So the paper is very light, faded color. But I put it on the cooling rack, and you can see the lines on there. So you can use that for writing. There's some more yellow. Then I did some blue. And some pink. And after I did the pink, which you saw me do, I did some green, and there was some pink left on the pan. And I put the green on top of it so you can see what happened. And I really like that. I think I'm going to do something with this and put some roses on it. I think that would be perfect. And here's some green coffee filters. And the doilies I made with the pink. And here's some green that was very, very light. I really don't care for it as much as I do as the dark green. But in any case, you can make it light or dark depending on whether or not you put vinegar on it and whether or not you have a whole lot of water added or just a little bit to the coloring. And this is what I used. It was a whole 98 cents at Walmart. This is what I used to color my paper. And believe it or not, I cut each tablet in half. So I still have enough tablets to make some more. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, try your hand at coloring some paper, some doilies, or get out the coffee filters and use those. They really take the coloring. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. So if you did, please come back and see me and see what I have in store for you for next time. Bye.